I used to make a joke that we shouldn't call this class public speaking. We should actually call it public listening. Because if you took this class to face, you would spend a lot more time listening than you do speaking. No one thought it was funny. So we'll move on from my joke. But I do want to talk about listening today. All right, here's why it matters. Is listening is a skill that increases your competency, your ability, and how good you are at speaking, researching, writing, and reading. People succeed when they're better listeners by up to 24%. So I want you to remember this listening piece is really important. When we talk about good leaders, almost always we will hear someone say, man, they're a really great listener. So what prohibits us from listening? I want you to think about what is distracting you right now. So actually, if you're taking notes, I want you to grab a pen and paper and have you provide some examples. This will actually help with your ability to listen to your teammates' speeches, and I'll have you know what were the distractions you encountered while you were listening. So we mentioned this in the communication model, but I'm going to echo it again. We have two types of distractions. External, what's happening around us, lights, fans, pen clickers, phones going off, people talking, people chewing, televisions, all kinds of things. Those are external, and they intercept the message, so they prevent us from being effective communicators or really being able to listen. But then we have what is happening inside us, or what we call internal. So two P's. Those are physiological and psychological. So I could be hungry, tired, have a headache. I could have lots of things physically going on that prohibit my ability to communicate effectively. But I could have internal noise that is psychological. So that means I'm worried. I'm thinking about my math exam. I'm thinking about my kids who may be sick or running a fever. I'm thinking about bills that need to be paid. I'm thinking about my job that's not going well, or a relationship that's hard. Those internal noises also prohibit us from being good listeners. We call those distractions. So there's three other primary ones. One is laziness or overconfidence. I got it. I don't need to listen. Maybe as a teenager you said, I've heard my parents say this 100 things. I'll check out because I already know what they're going to say. We also have what we call script writing or defensive listening, where it is like another level to the laziness. Like, I don't need to listen because I already know. It's, I'll tell you what you're going to say before you say it. Or I get defensive, where I can't hear what you're saying because I'm pretty worked up that I feel like you're attacking me. Finally, we have cultural barriers. Accents, appearance sometimes. It can be hard for us to communicate, to approach people, or to also receive communication from people that maybe sound and look different from us. We want to be careful that we work to adapt and overcome to those obstacles. There are two types of listening that I want you to hear. Active listening, which I hope you're doing right now, but maybe you're folding laundry or you're actually watching this, hopefully not in a car. But there are 5 sort of steps to this active listening, and I want you to write these down, and I want you to really practice them, maybe for a lecture face-to-face or online, or maybe with a partner. Identify your listener's needs. So identify, what is it that I need out of this? Do I need the information for a quiz? Do I need to hear it so I feel connected? You need to identify why listening is helpful to you. And then set a listening goal. I'm going to listen for this many minutes. I'm going to take away 3 things. At the end of this, I'll remember X, Y, and Z. So tell yourself what you're listening for. Then assess, how did you do? This is a great chance to listen and then take a quiz. Listen for main ideas. See if you can't, what we call, synthesize sort of what they're saying. All right, then we have critical listening, where now I'm listening to sort of pick things apart. If I'm listening to your persuasive speech, I'm evaluating your evidence. Are you logical? Right? I'm analyzing your assumptions, your bias. I'm listening for words that you might use that say, there's some implicit bias. When you say that, it makes it sound like you assume every person in Gen Z is lazy, or you assume this. Assess their reasoning. Are they using logical fallacies? Consider other viewpoints. Really take that into play. We'll talk about that in persuasion. And then offer criticism, and here's the key word, compassionately. That you can tell them, hey, here's maybe a flaw in your argument because I want you to be clear when you are communicating. So we've talked about things that get in the way of listening and types of listening. Now, we're not going to call this a public listening class, but I hope that you take away from the skills and understanding to be a better listener.